Hello students. Today we are going to do the chapter The Cat. The chapter in the chapter the narrator has described the cat, the activities of a cat in a very humorous way, that is in a very funny way. And he has also shown us that the cat is not um an ordinary animal that we think it is. Okay, it has more means it's something more than what we actually understand a cat is. Now let us read the chapter, then we will understand what he is trying to say. Most people think that the cat is an unintelligent animal, fond of ease and caring little for anything but mice and milk. So the cat is fond of only mice and milk, and it cares for nothing else. That is what is the general opinion about cat. But a cat has really more character, that is personality, than most human beings, and gets a great deal more satisfaction out of life. So the author is trying to tell us that we human beings might not be satisfied with our life, but a cat is quite satisfied with its life, more satisfied with its life. He or she, that is, it can be a male or a female, is an athlete, an acrobat, and a grim fighter. So it's a serious fighter, it's an athlete, an acrobat. Acrobat, we can understand, the meaning as it's given, one who entertains with physical activities. So a cat is very strong and fit, and it is also a grim fighter, that is, it's also a serious fighter. Okay, it can fight for its needs. All day long the cat loafs about the house, takes things easy, and allows himself to be pestered by the attention of the people in the house. So what does a cat do all day long? It just moves around the house. Loafs means aimlessly moving around the house. You have come across this word earlier in Father's Head. All day long the cat loafs about the house, takes things easy, and takes things easy means it just it does not care about anything, as it said in the very beginning itself. And what else? And allows himself to be pestered by the attention of the people in the house. Pestered means disturbed. Okay, so the general tendency is whenever people see a cat, they just take it up and tries to cuddle it, tries to stroke it, and all these things. The cat doesn't like it actually, but it doesn't show its dislike also. Now see here, the author has put it in a very funny way. To pass the time away, he sometimes watches a mouse hole for an hour or two, just to keep himself from dying of boredom. So since the cat means what the author has observed, or in general people observe, they have seen that a cat, what the author means to say is that we find the cat very ordinary animal, and what general people find is that the cat, just to keep himself entertained, or just to avoid kind of boredom, he would just sit and watch a mouse hole for for a long time, that is an hour or even 2 hours. People get this idea that this sort of thing is all that holds life for a cat. So people think that is its life. That is the life of a cat. But watch him as the shades of evening fall. So we should watch a cat in the evening when its actual activities start. You can see the cat as he really is. So as the author has observed a cat, that in general people have made an idea about what a cat is, but a cat's life is more than what general people understand. It's not an unintelligent or a stupid animal as we think it is. Now we come to unit 2. When the family sits down to tea, the cat puts in an appearance to get his share. So the cat is very clever. As soon as it sees that the family has settled around, or has gathered around to have tea, it will come there. It purrs noisily and rubs against the legs of the family members. Purrs means a typical sound made by the cat. It purrs noisily and it will go and sit just beside the legs of the family members. Not that it wants to be cuddled, because the family is now sitting for a tea. Tea means tea, snacks, everything. So it wants a share from those things, okay, to get some food. That is his actual intention. If there is a guest at the table, the cat is particularly civil to him, because the guest is likely to have the best of what is offered. Naturally, whenever a guest comes to our house, we give the best thing to the guest. That is the way it has always been. Now, the cat is also very clever. See how the author brings out that how clever this cat is. So the cat, whenever it sees that there is somebody, an outsider there, it understands that he or she is a guest. So it becomes particularly civil. Civil means polite to that guest. Why? Because it wants a share from what is offered to the guest, because the best will be offered to the guest. Sometimes, instead of giving him something to the cat, the guest stoops down and strokes the cat and says, "Poor pussy, poor pussy." So sometimes the guest tries to be cleverer than the cat. So it just bends down. Stoops means bends down, and it just strokes the cat and says, "Oh, poor pussy, so sweet." The cat gets soon tired of this. The cat doesn't like it. It is not there to get itself cuddled. It is there so that it can get a share of the guest's food. And what does the cat do? He puts up his claw and quietly but firmly rakes the guest in the leg. Rakes the guest means scratches. So how will the guest feel? See, the author has given it in such a funny manner. "Oh," says the guest, "the cat stuck his claws into me." So the guest says, "Ah, it hurts." You know what the cat is doing? The cat is, scratching. It has put its claws. And what does the family say? "Isn't it sweet of him? Isn't he intelligent? See how intelligent it is? You tried to be clever by stroking it. So it has given you the answer. He wants you to give something to eat. So you better give him something to eat." So the family doesn't understand. Means even if it understands, it's not so much worried about that. So he says that, "Oh, since you have come, he wants that it wants that you should give him something to eat." The guest dares not do what he would like to do. Kick the cat out of the window. The guest wants to throw the cat out of the window. So with tears of rage and pain, Rage means anger and pain. Naturally, it's paining. You know how sharp the claws of the cat is. He affects means pretends. To be very much amused. To be very much amused means he also finds it very funny. Not at all funny. And sorts a bit of fish from his plate and hands it down. Ultimately, he has to give. If he had given it earlier, it wouldn't have happened. So now he takes a bit of a fish from his plate and hands it down, gives it to the cat. What does a cat do? Now the cat is happy. The cat gingerly receives it. Gingerly, the meaning is given in your book. It means carefully. Receives it means takes it. With a look in his eyes that says. So now it looks at the guest and says, "Another time, my friend, you won't be so slow to understand. So next time, don't try to be cleverer than me, okay? So you will face the same thing. Now, next time, remember what I can do." He purrs as he retires to a safe distance from the guest's boot before eating his food. Now, the cat is also very careful. It just receives it and it goes to a very safe distance. So that, it is not very near to the guest, because it knows the guest, what it has done to the guest. And he is quite angry and it's paining. So, better, be safe. So, it goes far away from the guest's boots of the guest. And it takes the food also along with it before eating his food. So we have done 2 of the units. Now the probable questions could be, what do people generally think about cats? You get it in the very first paragraph itself, that cat is an unintelligible animal, fond of ease and caring little for anything but mice and milk. What are the characteristics of a cat? Cat has more character than people think, and it gets more satisfaction out of its life. Also, it is an athlete, an acrobat, and a grim fighter. Then the next answer is, next question could be, yes, how does cat spend its day? And all day long, the cat loafs about the house, takes things easy, and allows it to be pestered by the people of the house. And sometimes it looks at a mouse hole for more than 2 hours so that it does not die out of boredom. When do the actual activities of a cat begin? Actual activities of the cat begins when the shades of evening fall. Now, from the next unit, the questions could be, why is a cat particularly civil to a guest? Because the best thing is offered to the guest, and if it's polite, the guest will offer some, a share from his food. What does a guest do on seeing a cat? A guest, instead of giving his food, he just stoops down, strokes the cat, and calls out, and calls him poor pussy in that way. How does a cat shows its dislike towards the guest? The cat does not want to be cuddled, and very soon it gets tired of it, and it rakes its claws on the rakes the legs of the guest with its claws. So that is how it shows its dislike. How does the cat manage to get his share? Here you will write that the cat is particularly civil, but when the guest does not give him the share of food and just cuddles him, he goes, he just rakes the legs of the guest with its claws. The you know the guest cries out of pain, and then he gives him a bit of his share of food to him. And this is how the cat manages to get its share. And after taking, means it takes its food very carefully, and it goes to a far distance from the guest's food before eating the food. So we stop here today.